Hey guys, welcome into Feed and Ferment. I'm your host, Drew Jones, and today is Sunday. We've got the NFL playoffs going on, the AFC and NFC Championship. So we're getting ready. We're going to kind of get into the second half of the 49ers-Rams games here in a few minutes. So in the meantime, we're going to knock out something really delicious and really quick and simple for a Sunday night dinner. So we're going to make steak frite. All right. So easy thing to do. First of all, we got some of the seasoned fries from your local grocery store. Frozen, already knocked those into the 425 degree oven. They take about 20-25 minutes, something like that. Pull them out. We're going to put those back in at the very end just to kind of warm them back up. But the first thing we're going to get in, while our cast iron pan is getting really screaming hot for these New York strips, we're going to get, again, it's kind of the winter time, so we don't really have an abundance of fresh produce. Frozen broccoli is incredible. It does so well right out of the freezer in this preparation. So you can certainly steam it in the bag, you can boil it, you can do whatever. But this we found was a really good preparation. My wife found this. We tried it at home and I was like, that's some of the best broccoli period that I've ever had. So this is kind of what we do now. So first thing we're gonna get the broccoli in the pan, and I'll grab that. And look guys, this stuff is, I mean, it's still frozen. You'll hear this, right? We're not cheating here. It's not pre-cooked or anything like that. Okay, next thing we're gonna do, olive oil. Nice little bath on these guys. Salt. Pepper. Okay. Give us a quick toss. Make sure everybody's happy. Again, guys, y'all can hear this. This is still frozen solid. And that's totally fine. Let me get a quick rinse. In the meantime, our pan should be getting nice and warm. We'll test that with just a little, oh yeah. All right, so we'll check on those guys periodically. So here's the deal with the steaks. You never want to go straight out of the fridge with any protein right into the pan, even if it's, you know, something as small as shrimp, obviously larger roasts, larger cuts, turkeys, chickens, beef, anything. Let it come out to room temperature. This has been sitting out for about an hour and a half. You're not going to get any bacteria or anything like that. It's not going to make you sick. Let's just say that something were to get on the surface of random bacteria. Again, not really worried about it. We're about to salt these things, and we're going to hit them in a screaming hot pan. It'll kill anything. Again, not really a concern anyway. But make sure you take it out. Let it come to room temp. Yeah, these guys are absolutely room temperature. Now, these are New York strips. You'll notice we got this little fat cap running all the way along the top. If we put this in the pan, what's gonna happen is it's gonna wanna kind of curl up on us and do some weird things. We also are not gonna get a good rendering on that fat, and we want that beef fat. So what we wanna do is we wanna cut into the fat, not into the meat, just into the fat. This is gonna do a few things for us. First and foremost, you keep it from curling up, right? And then secondly, it's gonna help more of that beef fat render. And the key, in my opinion, to cooking really good steak is making sure you're getting that fat rendered out of the whatever cut you're using, whether it's ribeye, New York strip, sirloin, I mean, whatever it is, use the beef fat. It is some of the most flavorful stuff you are ever gonna get your hands on. So use it. Don't be afraid of it. Okay. All right, so we got that. Now, we're gonna liberally salt this. Okay, again, we're not, go from a height so you get nice coverage kind of all around. Beef loves salt, so let's give it to it. Same thing with some pepper. We're going to be generous here. Yes, I'm intentionally letting some of it fall on the plate. You'll see why here in just a second. Ready? Because of this. Got to make sure to season that fat cap too, right? Okay? So that was easy. Quick rinse, just so I grab my bottle of oil. Now, when we're gonna go to sear these steaks, we want a nice high temperature oil. Our pan, we're getting little wisp of smoke, so we know that's there. So this is sunflower oil. Just make sure whatever you're using, vegetable, canola, sunflower, avocado, grapeseed, ghee, whatever you choose to use, just make sure that it's got a good high smoke point on it, because we want these babies sizzling, but we don't want to burn the oil. So we're going, and lay away from you, right? Because that little bit of splash, I promise you don't want that on your face or your hands or anywhere else for that matter. All right. That's super simple. And these aren't going to take long at all. We're talking like a minute and a half, 2 minutes each side. And that's because we got our pan nice and hot. We had our steak out at room temperature. So these are gonna get a really beautiful sear on the other side. And then when we go to flip them over, that's when we're gonna start using, we've got some room temp butter. This has been out for about 4 hours now. And we're just gonna baste and baste and baste and baste to get these things nice and flavorful. And you guys will see that in just a minute. So, give these guys a quick check. It's been probably about 45 seconds. Almost there. And like I said, we'll show you what that side looks like. In the meantime, let me show you what a couple of options we've got here for sauce. So the other day made some steak and rendered down. Had some bones left over basically from something we roasted. So made kind of a like a little bit of a beef stock, and then cooked down some red wine. Mix those together. So that is basically a bordelaise sauce. So reduce down the beef stock, kind of into a demi, and then reduce down the red wine, mix them together. That's going to be an option. But you may notice this mortar and pestle. We're also going to do a really, really beautiful chimichurri, which is going to be the star of the show probably. So we'll show you that. Well, all right. Look at that. Okay. You see how easy those steaks come off? Now, personally, there's nothing wrong with grilling outside. Absolutely nothing wrong at all. I think that when it comes to doing steaks, burgers, anything like that, you get a much better sear and you get a much better crust in cast iron. And you have the opportunity to, what we're going to do here in just a second, right? You get to do this. I'm going to put that butter in. You got some nice, I was about to say a nice big spoon. There we go. What's the guy I'm looking for? All right. A towel or something, because this pan's going to be hot. Now, the only reason, typically what you would do here is you would go in, you would also be doing, herbs, garlic. We are going to go in with a little garlic in just a second, but I don't want to go too much. And that's mainly because we're going to have a lot of raw garlic in that chimichurri. So I just don't want to overwhelm it, but we are not going to miss the opportunity to baste. So we'll smash a little garlic in there. Well, that's great. This is the fun part. You can totally Hulk out on the food in your kitchen. It's great. All right, here we go. All right. Clobbered one. That was nice. All right, so we got garlic. Basically have garlic butter now. And look, these steaks are basically done already. So, here's what we're going to do at this point. Now again, typically we do a bunch of herbs like thyme or rosemary, but we're going to have that chimichurri going. Yeah, these guys are good. They're done. So the only reason we're not doing the herbs is because chimmy. Don't want to overwhelm it. All right. Look at that beautiful crust on the other side. And look, what we're going to do is we're going to end up cutting kind of this back cap off anyway. So don't worry about that. It'll look a lot prettier when I show you guys how we're going to plate this up. Okay. Just turn that off. All right, probably don't even need a spoon, but I'll tell you what we'll do. Again, free flavor. Don't worry about the skins. They're easy to take off if you need to. Look at that garlic. this out. Here we go. While this steak rests, let's give it a little bath here. There we go. I'm telling you guys, you don't want to waste that beef fat, and you don't want to waste any of that good butter that we just rendered out. So first thing we're gonna do, let's check on this broccoli we got. All right, so that is the one thing about smashing the garlic like that, it does kind of make a mess. But it's fun, and cooking's supposed to be fun. If it's not fun, what are you doing? All right, let me show you all this so you can see kind of what we're starting to look for. I'm telling you guys, you want to take broccoli to a whole nother level. See where it's just starting to brown some here. That's where we want a lot more than that. Just remember, this started out frozen, so this is not only slowly cooking the inside, but it's going to char the outside. We want that char. What that's doing is that's mimicking everything on the outside. And what we can even do is when that's just about done or starting to char, we can fire this pan back up. Just get by that garlic skin, fire this pan back up, hit the broccoli in there and toss it for a second if we want to. We're gonna probably go a little bit of a different preparation, but if you don't have some of the ingredients that we'll show in the end, don't hesitate to do that, because it is gonna be good if you do. All right, so next thing we gotta do, we're gonna kill that so that I'm not having to yell at you guys. Let's knock out some chimichurri. Okay. First thing, if you don't have a mortar and pestle, I would highly encourage you to get one. I love using this thing, especially for things like pesto or a chimney or something like that. So what I did, I got some of these smaller cloves from the garlic head and dropped them in here so I can save the big ones for the steak. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is just kind of start to pound this garlic. Takes no time at all. And the reason you put that salt in there is that the salt is pretty abrasive. So that salt is gonna help break everything down that we're about to put in there. So I'm just getting a spoon here to knock this off. And look, in just a matter of seconds, with our garlic, we basically already got a paste, okay? And we can go a little bit finer on that. Not a problem, but really get in there. Don't be afraid. You're not gonna hurt the garlic. So we're gonna take that down a little finer. But first, what we're gonna do, this is a little bit of leftover cilantro that we had from some taco soup that we did. So got that. And what I like to do to kind of give my chimichurri a head start, so I'm not having to just pound and pound all day in the mortar and pestle, is I really like to just go ahead and give the herbs a nice chop. I mean, you could just tear them in there if you really wanted to. We had these in water, so some of them are a little bleh. Okay. Get a nice rough chop. All right, so let's take this. Put some in here. I think we can get all of it in. Awesome. And the beautiful thing about a chimichurri, really, guys, is I had leftover cilantro. You don't have to use that. And more traditionally would be parsley anyway. But what we do a lot of times around here is, quite honestly, we're trying to use up herbs. So we go through and we make a lot of pestos, and a lot of herbed, things like that, just because it's a great way to use them up, right? So you can make sure that those herbs are not going to waste, especially in the summertime. We grow a ton of herbs out here at the house. We do basil last year. We had a ton of that. Rosemary does really well for us. Thyme, sage. Never really gotten cilantro to grow too well, but point being, use that stuff. Herbs actually freeze pretty well too. If you're gonna do that, put them in butter or oil, olive oil, good olive oil in like an ice cube tray. Easy. All right, so let's put a little more salt here, right? we're just gonna kind of, just wanna get this started. And then we'll get we'll get liquid introduced here in just a second. But you can already see how much these herbs, really start to break down. This is a lot of work. I mean, you can do it in a food processor, you can, but this is so cathartic to me that quite honestly, I just don't think I would do it any other way. All right, so look how much that broke down, right? The garlic and the herbs, those are all kind of one now. So that's great. Now the other two things that we need to really make this a chimichurri, we need some vinegar or acid of some kind. So we're gonna introduce that in two different forms here. We're gonna introduce acid in the form of this beautiful sherry vinegar from one of our sherry producers called Valdespino. They actually make vinegar from a PX, a Pedro Jimenez sherry. And this stuff is incredible. I mean, oh my gosh. If y'all see this out of the store, like I'm telling you, get it. All right, so about a teaspoon to start. Oh, that's so magical. And this is some olive oil from Sicily. So this is an estate olive oil from a winery that we work with called Kos. And it is absolutely incredible. So it's nice and grassy. Generally speaking, the rule of thumb is about 1/4 cup of olive oil for 1/4 cup of, chopped herbs. We obviously had, kind of less than that. But that is right at the consistency that you're looking at. Now, this is a basic chimichurri. Let's check on the broccoli and then we may do something else to that. So the broccoli's looking good. Now, earlier today when I told the wife we were doing steak frites, she was like, ooh, I want a spicy chimichurri. So two options that I'm gonna show you guys, and either way, you're gonna love it, I promise. Behind door number one. This stuff is great. This is called Espelette pepper. It's actually a French, like France's cayenne. But it's got this earthiness to it, almost like it had, ground sage or ground thyme in with it. The other option, we'll go to the boot. And these are chopped up Calabrian chilies. So these are from the Calabria region of Italy. These little devils are awesome. So I'm gonna kind of do two little versions here. Now we're also gonna put some lemon juice in here as kind of our other acid component to finish waking this up. But I'm not gonna do that yet because I wanna zest that lemon over the broccoli. And if I cut it up and try to start squeezing it now, it's going to make getting the zest a living nightmare. And I'm not gonna do that. I did that once, it was a really big pain. Not fun and very complicated. So, moving right along here. Again, you could go either way on the peppers that you wanted to. If you want to do Calabrian, if you want to do, the Espelette, or even if you want to do cayenne, or whatever chilies you have, or you don't have to use chili peppers at all. You don't have to make this spicy. We like a little bit of a kick, so that's what we're gonna do. But hey, if no one in the house is, and look, that's all I'm putting in. Not much. Stuff goes a long way. But if you live in a household where nobody really likes spice, just give it that last squeeze of lemon juice, or you could just use a red wine vinegar from the start. That would be fine. The only reason I'm gonna do the lemon in here as well is because that PX vinegar has got some really dark, kind of rich, sherry notes, because it is a sherry vinegar. So I think just the brightness of the lemon will help. So a little salt, just a touch at the end. Shouldn't need much, we had salt in there. I'm gonna hold on pepper. A little taste. Guys, look at this. I'm telling you, you could put this on fish, you could put this on steak, pork, whatever you want to put it on. That's incredible. That is legit probably the best chimichurri I've ever made. I'm not even joking. That's crazy. That's awesome. All right, so we're getting nice and charred here. Let's grab this towel just so I can get a little better grip on this. And then in just a second, I'm going to tell you guys about this killer bottle of wine that we've got for tonight. Give her a little taste. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. We're done there. Just turn the oven off. I'm gonna pop those fries back in just to kind of heat them back up just a touch. Now look, this is great. Here's what we're gonna do. First, go in with this fresh lemon zest. And I'm not gonna skimp on it either. I mean, it's cold outside this week. We need something to brighten us up a little bit. Big thing with zesting is make sure you don't get the white part, right? We don't want the pit. So, and then, so we got some pecorino hanging out. Just gonna put a little pecorino on there too. Look at that, guys. It's like snowfall. Looks like a lot, but it's gonna kind of melt in, so don't worry about that. All right, we should probably cut up some steak, huh? Okay, what first? Let's go ahead and get this lemon. Let's get this added in here. Use that natural strainer that you got right at the end of your wrist. Look at that, I said that and I still let one by. That's all right. That'll be a surprise for somebody. Somebody will get the one rogue lemon seed in there. No, we'll get that up. Boop. Okay. There we go. Nice little lift. Okay, let's get all this garlic out of here. Don't need that, I'm just gonna drop it back in here. Oh, and I'm telling you, this is one of the best little nugs you're ever gonna get. Your pan roasted garlic and beef fat, I'm telling you, woo, that's good. All right, get this out of the way. Give this a quick wipe. Little Calabrian chili oil, that never hurt anybody, right? Except for maybe one of the kids if they snag a bite of that. All right, moment of truth. I'm gonna bring this where you guys can see. We're gonna cut into one of these guys. Let's see if we got our steak temp good or if we just completely ruined this whole thing. All right, so again, we're gonna trim this up just to pretty it up just a little bit. All right, you coming over here or do you want me to come over there? You coming here? All right, here we go. We're gonna cut right through the middle first. We'll see how we did. Look at that. You catching that on the camera? Guys, that's about as mid-rare as it gets. Oh, that's pretty. All right, so here we go. Slice her down. And look, you notice we let the meat rest, okay? At least 10 minutes. Oh my gosh, that little piece isn't gonna satisfy anybody. Okay, I'll take it. I'll do it. I'll do that for the family. We let the meat rest, so all of our beautiful juices that we worked so hard to lock in and sear in, none of it's leaving the plate. It's all staying right there, okay? Last thing, let me grab these fries. We'll show you guys how we're plating this up. Super simple, right? Really kind of like, for me, when I think steak frite, I'm kind of transported back to when me and the wife were over in, we took a vacation to France, flew into Paris. We went to Champagne first because if I didn't get her some bubbles inside real quick, we were gonna be in trouble. So we spent some time there and then we went down to Burgundy and had an amazing experience in both places. And then went back to Paris for a couple of days before we flew out. And my favorite bistro meal at any of those spots was steak frites. So when I have this type of food, I'm transported back there. We're not drinking Burgundy today. We're gonna drink some really killer wine from California, and I'm excited to tell you guys about that. But again, let's get this plated up. All right. Super simple. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. Just get some fries. And I'm telling you, you guys want a meal that's gonna like absolutely just please the kids too. Like this is it, guys. I mean, what kid doesn't love broccoli and cheese? I think broccoli and cheese is awesome, but I also want to make sure that it's like somewhat healthy, right? So instead of us having like, you know, thick, gooey cheese sauce kind of poured over everything, let's just do like this. How about that? Well, if you guys know me at all, if you've ever come over and had dinner at the house, y'all know that plating is not my strong suit. But here we go. Last thing. Let's plop this chimney right down the middle. Look at that. Healthy, simple, quick Sunday night dinner. Something super easy that anybody can do. So let's talk about this wine. One of my absolute favorite properties in California, Pine Ridge Vineyards. They are situated in Stag's Leap, which, if you're familiar with California wine history at all, this AVA put California on the map back at the Judgment of Paris in, was it 1976? And until then, everybody across the world just thought it was a bunch of hicks in the sticks making wine. But a couple of really good winemakers got some bottles sent over for the blind tasting, and a wine from Stag's Leap beat out first growth Bordeaux's. We're talking Mouton Rothschild, Chateaubriand, Lafite, Latour. I mean, all these guys lost to the Americans, and so this place is very special in general. So when I find things that are, you know, kind of based in Stag's Leap, I'm kind of drawn there. Now, this particular bottling is their Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. This is from 2014. At this point, the drought had been going on in California for about 3 years. So you're gonna get a lot of that kind of cassis, dark berry flavors, you know, dark, rich purple fruits, blackberry, things like that going on in this wine. You can smell the oak, so we know that we obviously have rested this wine in oak. It is a Napa Cab, so that would be par for the course. And this one is a blend of some of the top vineyard sites that Pine Ridge deals with. So they have spots in Oakville, Rutherford, Stag's Leap, Howard Mountain, and a little bit of stuff down in Carneros. You know, and this wine, just every time that I have it, it just completely blows me away. It honestly is a sleeper in the category. Oh, needed to coat the palate. Guys, these French fries, I'm telling you, it's like $2 for a big, huge bag of them, and they're so good. Just make sure when you pull them out of the oven, salt them, please. We did that before we put them back in to warm them back up, but salt them. Even though they're seasoned, hit them with salt. That's incredible. What do y'all think? Should I probably get a fork or just keep eating with my fingers? Or, hang on. We watch a lot of Chopped in this house, so you ready for this, guys? Here we go. In true Chopped Judge style fashion. Oh yeah. Look, the best thing about that broccoli is it costs no money in the off season. Hit it with the lemon juice or the lemon zest and the pecorino, you're good. But look, I mean, tell me that you guys don't want that. There's no way you can delicately do this. Yeah, it turns out mid-rare steak with a spicy chimichurri is incredible. The French fries underneath, they're gonna do a great job of soaking that up. So we're gonna turn this off because I'm about to go to town on this and watch some football. But thank you for joining. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, like it, share it, tell your friends about us. Like I said, we're hoping to just have some fun and do some cool things here in the kitchen at the house. Cheers.